tired, boss. I'm tired.
I'm tired, boss.
Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. New Hawas! They never stop coming. They never will stop coming. Wait, what? They are never going to stop coming out. We have to accept it. You know, we got to move past the anger part and get to acceptance. And today we're talking the new one, baby. Hawas Highness. One of the new ones, I should say, because they also came out with Overdose. That one's actually pretty good. How, though, is Highness? Is it good as well? Some fun stuff to talk about here today. Ooh. I'll have this one linked in the description. I got it from JOMASHOP, 44 bones. That's the price as of right now, but they do have the retail price at $69.99, crossed out, 44 underneath. Is anyone ever actually gonna buy this for 70? I hope not. Guys, let's peep a gander at this presentation, and then I'll start telling you how Highness smells, what it's similar to, and whether or not this is one of the best Hawas out there, or if it's trash. Let's check the box. On the front, you get the name of the fragrance, the name of the flanker, size and concentration, 100 ml, eau de parfum, logo up top. I don't actually have the sticker of authenticity on this one. It's really weird. Something I've noticed with new Hawas fragrances is that some of them do come with the sticker of authenticity, others don't. So Overdose box, sticker. Highness box, no sticker. They're both authentic, but at some point along the way at Rasasi, they were like, we don't really need to like keep up with where we're putting these stickers, do we? Who cares? Authenticity. If they buy a fake, screw them. Losers.
Le who? The her.
Rasasi, don't be like that, come on. Got a little information on the back of the box, including the website, and then on the bottom, you're gonna find your ingredients, your badge code, and your barcode. Manufactured March 2026, the same as the Hawas Overdose bottle that I also got in. And here we have the bottle. It has that mirrored finish, which looks nice if it is clean, which it will not be if you pick the bottle up. Absolute fingerprint magnet. On the front, you have the name of the fragrance. On the back, you have a sticker. On the bottom, it says Rasasi. The cap does click into place. And one quick thing I wanna point out, this. So Rasasi has been pumping out Hawas fragrances recently. Highness and Overdose coming out here over the past week or so. And then, you know, 3 new ones coming out just before that. Exotic, Lava Gold, and Thunder. So they've just been pumping them out. This is the second bottle out of the last 5 that I've gotten that's done this. So that's 40% of the Hawas fragrances that I've gotten in. And if this is happening with me, I know it's happening with some of you. And ultimately, this isn't the biggest deal in the world or anything like that. But when I took the cap off for the first time, this is what happened. So you can see the inside of the cap just popped right out. And here it is. You can see there's a little bit of dried glue at the top there. And just when you pop the cap off the bottle, this part stays behind, the cap comes off. And like I said, this is the second one out of the last 5 that I've gotten that's done that. So you have to basically try to get this inner piece and just stuff it back in there and try to like press it really hard so that the next time you take the cap off, it doesn't come off with it. So you can fix it by aggressively stuffing it back in there, but it is kind of annoying. Let's go ahead and do a couple sprays. Here we go. Nice. So as I said, this is linked in the description below. You can also use these codes at JOMASHOP to save yourself extra cash. They change every quarter and they only work within the JOMASHOP app. They're also in the description in case you want to copy and paste, alongside a bunch of other codes that you can use across different websites like Fragflex, Perfume Box, and more. So use those codes, save yourself a little extra cash. All right, so Hawas Highness. When this one first popped up at iFragrance Official, they had it marked as a Parfums de Marly Castly clone, which is completely wrong. It doesn't smell like Castly at all. Now they did go in after the fact and change that, but yeah, initially the thought was, oh, it's gonna be Castly, even though the note breakdown doesn't really look like it. What it actually smells closer to is Vibrato. Bit of a difference between those 2 fragrances. So I'm gonna compare this one to the original and also to this one right here, Regent. This one, of course, by Maison Esrar, and in terms of pricing, both of these are right at about 45 bucks. Vibrato is slightly more expensive. How much more expensive? Full retail, about $326 US, so slightly more expensive, but you can get it at discounters for like 200, which, yeah, that's still more expensive. Yeah. So how do these three fragrances open up? Well, Hawas Highness is bright, it's sparkling, it has this really nice combination of citrus and ginger. As I said, bright, uplifting, crowd-pleasing, smells fantastic. And it does not smell the same as this or this, at least if you're going for like a one-to-one type deal. It's clearly more freshened up and sweetened up compared to Vibrato, which is going to be more buttoned up. All the different ups, yeah. Vibrato is gonna come across a little bit more musky, a little bit more powdery, more elegant, more high-end, but maybe not quite as much of a day-to-day wear as this one off the top. Highness has a polished, sweet sheen to it that makes it a little bit more playful, a little bit more immediately wearable, I'd say. And that ginger is pulling double duty here off the top with Hawas Highness. It gives it a touch of warmth, but it also gives it that sparkle. You know, that citrus ginger combo is a classic. It's been used across, I can't even tell you how many fragrances. Both designer and niche, clones, indies, it doesn't really matter. Ginger and citrus go together like peanut butter and jelly, or like beer and bratwurst. It just works, you know, it just feels right.
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Now compare that to Regent in the opening, and Regent comes across feeling a little thicker, a little heavier. It's got more density to it. Definitely comes across like the classier of the two fragrances. It has less of that sparkling citrus energy and a little bit more of a clean white floral undertone to it that you can pick up here compared to here. And as the opening starts to settle in with Hawas Highness, you pick up a clean, stripped back woody undertone, you know, very much modern woodiness. Which again, compared to Vibrato, more musky, more powdery. And then compared to Regent, this one has more of an almost creamy woodiness as it starts to settle down in the opening. So of the three off the top, if you just want to kind of simplify things down, Hawas Highness is not quite as much of a dress for the occasion kind of citrus scent. You know, it's not quite as elegant, it's not quite as sophisticated, but it makes up for that by being, frankly, just easier to wear. Vibrato is gonna be the stuffiest of the bunch. Not in a bad way, that's not what I mean when I say that, but it feels, you know, the most expensive. It feels like the one that you wear to a special occasion, but maybe you don't bust it out every day during the summer. And the powder and the musk that's in there might actually make it less attractive for people who don't really gravitate toward that type of vibe. I mean, of course, it's got the citrus in there to help balance it, but still. And then Regent, you know, it's kind of splitting the difference. It still feels thicker, classier, more elegant compared to Hawas Highness, but it doesn't lean into that musky, powdery side that Vibrato does. And then the mid hits. And let me tell you, that's where Hawas Highness really starts to cash in. It smells awesome as it heads through the mid. And also, just really quickly, off a strip, it almost smells like Fruity Pebbles, like cereal or something, like the type of sweetness. Weird, I like it. Off skin, it doesn't have that, just kind of as an aside. So into the mid, off skin, Hawas Highness starts to pick up some floral aspects along the edges. Not as heavy as in Vibrato. You're gonna get more of the floral aspects here than here, but you start to get a little bit of that coming out. And it smells especially good. Also in the air, absolutely fantastic. The floral notes here are not powdery, not perfumey, not overly formal. It's just like this clean, polished glow that it has that works alongside the clean aspects of the fragrance really, really well. The citrus that's in here is that made for the masses type of citrus. There's no tartness, no bitterness, no sharpness, just a smooth, sweet, clean type of citrus. Now, I actually like fragrances that have some citrus in there that's sour and fresh at the same time. I really dig that, but I know a lot of people don't. And this one stays completely away from that, like they were terrified of having that possibly happen, for better or worse. So even through the mid, very fresh, very bright, very clean, and a little bit sweet. Not overly sweet. It never veers off into sugary territory, headache-inducing territory, which can happen. You know, if you've got a sweet overload in a summer type of fragrance, you're gonna be wearing it when the humidity is high, when it's really hot outside. Too much sweetness there can be rough. You don't want that, and this avoids it. By comparison, through the mid, Vibrato, more mature, more upscale, has almost a little bit of a green leafy aspect that you don't get at all in Highness. Like that's completely gone here compared to here. So I'd say actually that entire aspect of Vibrato, the leafy muskiness, that's gone. They basically just jettisoned that into the sun. So if that's what you love about Vibrato, you know, this may not be the alternative for you. And in comparison to Highness, Regent is a little bit more floral forward, so you're gonna get more of that. Again, those white floral aspects coming out here in the mid, it has more of that coming across. More creamy woody. It does come across smelling like more of a high-end type fragrance compared to Hawas Highness. But I'd say again, if you're just talking straight up wearability during the summer when it's really hot, this one is probably easier to pull off for more people. And then you finally reach the dry down. Yeah. And the differences become even clearer. Vibrato actually picks up a really nice crisp sparkle to it when you hit that dry down. It's kind of weird because you don't get it as much in the opening, maybe a little bit, but it comes out more clearly as it dries on your skin. Kind of like a reverse kind of situation. Yeah, weird. It still stays rooted firmly in the dry down as the most upscale of the three. Not really a surprise considering the price difference between this and these. But if you're going to like the opera, you're going to the symphony, something like that, this probably makes the most sense. And as I've already harped on, it has more of that muskiness, that powderiness, even into the dry down. Now, Regent, compared to Vibrato, goes sweeter. Not heavily sweet, but more so than the original. Also woodier than Vibrato as well. It still comes across almost like a balance between these two. Not quite as formal as this one, but more so than this one. And Regent almost strikes a balance between Vibrato and Hawas Highness. Not quite as formal as Vibrato, but more so than Hawas Highness. So it's kind of right there in the middle. Hawas Highness, in comparison to the other two, the freshest of the bunch. Probably not a surprise. And even into the dry down, it stays pretty similar to how it comes across in the mid. There are changes, of course. The citrus slowly starts to step back and fade away. The woodiness comes out more and more and more as it dries on your skin. A clean stripped back woodiness, more like Isoe Super and Broxton and Clearwood more than anything, but it works really well. In comparison to the woodiness in Regent, which is more sandalwoody, sort of almost semi-creamy woodiness. And that dry down really just helps reinforce what Hawas Highness is trying to be, at least as far as I can tell, and that's the most easily wearable version of Vibrato during a day-to-day casual summertime type situation. Probably less of a special occasion fragrance, but more of a just spray this on, wear it, know you're gonna smell good type fragrance. It's not trying to be the most sophisticated one, it's not trying to be the most luxurious one, it's trying to be the one that you reach for the most. Again, for better or worse. Now let's talk performance. It's a freshie, and people know freshies usually don't perform that well. They got a reputation for sucking, yeah. But by and large, Rasasi Hawas fragrances are known for being a little heavy-handed. So which way does this one go? Heavy-handed, strong, powerful, or fleeting and weak, pathetic, so sniveling and beta that it just makes you want to puke? Ugh. God, it's so weak, pathetic. No, it's actually really good. It lasts, it projects, yeah. Hawas Highness easily hangs with these fragrances right here. Well above average in terms of projection and performance for a fresh type scent. And in terms of when you would wear it, it's kind of obvious, but spring, summer, day. Also because of the longevity, you could wear this during the fall, you could wear it during the winter, you know, give yourself kind of a different vibe when it's really cool outside. So in reality, I guess year round if you wanted to. Now I mentioned this before, but it's at 44 bucks right now, but it does say that the retail is 70. I don't think you should pay 70 for it. At that point, you start to get into the Joe Milano overpriced just to be overpriced tier of dupe fragrances. At that price point, 70 bucks, it's just too much. At 44, essentially the same price as Regent at 45. That's maybe at the upper mid tier of pricing, but it's not egregious. And at that price point, it's really, really solid. It's well done, the quality's there, the performance is there, nothing you can really knock. So the overall verdict, the pros and the cons, Rasasi has been absolutely hammering Hawas fragrances to the point that it's gotten to be almost a meme. It's sort of ridiculous. They're dropping 3, they're dropping 2, they're dropping 3, they're dropping 1. They're nonstop. And the quality has slipped on some of those. Some of the Hawas fragrances that have come out here recently have been very mid, you know, they're not very exciting. This one though is really, really nicely done. It's not going to work for you if you're looking for a direct one-to-one of Vibrato. But if fragrances like this and Bulgari Tiger, you know, fragrances in that vein, the higher end citrus forward fragrances that don't lean into the tartness of citrus, if that type of scent profile works for you, this stuff is gonna be great. Lots of crossover appeal, very easy to wear, and it smells more expensive than it costs. It's not a dead-on clone of Vibrato, but the twist that it has might make it actually work better for the majority of people out there. Now the pros, starting with the top of the scent. When you first spray this on, the bright, sparkling opening smells great. And following up with that, the mid smells even better. The citrus that's in here stays smooth and never goes overly tart or bitter. Of these three, it's the freshest and the easiest to wear of the bunch for me. Also of these three, it was my wife's favorite, for whatever that's worth. And finally, for a summer freshie, the performance is strong. You don't have to worry about reapplying. Now the cons. For somebody looking for a true one-to-one vibrato, I don't think this is gonna get the job done. To be fair though, I don't think that's what they're trying to do. Also kind of piggybacking off that, it doesn't feel as upscale or special occasion as vibrato or Regent. And the final con, which is maybe not a full-on con, at full pricing, 70 bucks, it's not worth it. I don't think you'll actually see it at 70 bucks though, unless it sells out and people try to scalp it on eBay. If that's the case, don't buy that, don't pay that price. You'll be unhappy. So there we go, Rasasi Hawas Highness. Really, really nicely done. Fantastic for summer, and one of the better Hawas fragrances of the past, I don't know, what is that, 38 that they've released? I'm just playing, it's not that many. But before long, it probably will be. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.